Mahesh, distinguished panel on the dais, and my dear friends. First of all, I express my joy at being in Tamil Nadu. What is so special about Tamil Nadu and many South Indian states? The intimidating democracy which is being crushed, the way democracy is being crushed in some of the northern states, you don't see that here as much. And in North India, many places, they have made a slogan which was there in the freedom movement by some communal elements. Communal means, I'll explain to that. And that was that Hindi, Hindu, Hindustan. So what language they want? Hindi. What religion they want? Hindu. And what country they want? Hindustan. This was their concept, which occasionally you see whenever they try to impose Hindi on the states which don't like Hindi to be imposed. So this is the first thing we notice. So that's why I feel fairly happy and relaxed to be amongst you today. And more so for another reason, that such a generous and kind introduction about me has already been given. Thank you very much for that. Now, secondly, the invitation has been extended to me, Indian Movement for Resurgence of Democracy. Indian Movement for Resurgence of Democracy. Excellent topic, most important thing today. And why this I will tell in a humorous way. Some of you can understand my English, some of you can understand, yes, no. Then try to answer a simple question. Very simple question. When did India get independence and democracy? Answer. When did India get independence and democracy? 15th August 1947? Thank you very much. See, these days I am very confused because in North India there is a great actor who did the role of Jhansi Ki Rani on a wooden horse. She said we got independence in 2014. I was very shocked. Means actually I think Indian democracy has started degenerating after 2014. And what this madam tells us, that India got independence in 2014. So I'm glad that some of us will become clear on that as to what is democracy, what has happened to democracy in India, how did democracy come to India? Did it fall from the heaven? Or people of India who were under the control of British colonial power, they struggled to see that values of democracy as enshrined in our constitution. Please remember, always remember the first sentence of preamble of Indian constitution: liberty, equality, fraternity and social justice. So there is an added thing which I am happy today, that two Masihas, the guardians of social justice, we just garlanded them. So that's another way of being happy today in this audience. Social justice is a part of our constitution, but it was not always so. Before coming to this, I can just tell another thing, that 2014, how our democracy is being undermined. Our democracy and hopes for a better future for younger generation, how they are being crushed. Do you remember how many jobs were promised per year by that Prime Minister? Name I will not take. You know another name of the Prime Minister? You know, no? So how many jobs he had promised? 2 crore jobs per year. And how many jobs we lost because of Notebandi demonetization? Lakhs and crores of jobs we lost. He says, I'll create 2 crore jobs per year. But we are losing jobs in small sector and other places. Then he said, Achhe din. Achhe din, some Hindi, don't mind it. Good days, good days. Not that good day biscuit. Good days are coming here. Means all will be honey and milk. We will be not facing the problem of poverty, illiteracy, lack of health education. Nothing. Good days will come. And what is happening? Total reversal of the process. And I'll remind my friends, young friends particularly, try to locate Oxfam report on India. Google search, you will get it. What does the report say? That after 2014, rich are getting richer, poor are getting poorer, and the indices in India, global indices like health, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, these are the signs of democracy. Health, provision, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, these are the signs of democracy. And what is happening to them? They are continuously falling. And as far as our freedom of religion is concerned, it is much behind many of the backward countries. Our freedom of expression, people are scared to talk frankly. Many people you may be knowing recently in Ashoka University, one professor was Mahmoodabad. He wrote a comment about that Pahalgam. Pahalgam, no? Hello. Please don't talk amongst themselves. Please don't talk amongst themselves. Pahalgam. He wrote a comment on Pahalgam that yes, you are appreciating Colonel Sophia, but why don't you think of so many women who have met the fate of Bilkis Bano in Gujarat? Why don't you think about so many Dalit and Adivasi women who are continuously harassed and oppressed in villages and small cities? He wrote such a simple thing. But they thought this is anti-national. He was imprisoned, a learned professor, talking very sensibly, actually, the job of intellectuals, media, is to criticize the government. Why? So that government can rectify, government can correct its mistake for a better future society. This is what is meant, role of media, this is the role of intellectuals, this is the role of all those who may be in electoral politics or non-electoral politics. Some of us are very successful in electoral politics, very good. Those who don't enter electoral politics, but they are interested in the welfare of society, they have also a right to express their opinion about what is happening in the society. So I congratulate my friends who have raised this platform of awareness about resurgence of democracy in India, because that is a core question. And so here I'll try to give a bit of a historical background. We know that India had many kingdoms. India had many kingdoms before, and kings were ruling. Now this I am summarizing, otherwise I can give details of that. Kings were not ruling for religion. Please note why I am asking this. Because today the force which is trying to suppress democracy, it is operating in the name of religion. Not because of religion. They have nothing to do with morality of religion. They are actually using religion as a cover. Religion as a cover to suppress democratic values. That's why all our constitution says, state will endeavor, state will try, state will struggle to reduce the gap between rich and the poor. State will try to reduce the monopoly houses. And what is happening today? Some two families, I hope you can guess that, because I want to leave some things for you also to think. Two families from Gujarat, they are trying to come up like anything. So if our Prime Minister has to go for campaign before 2014, whose aeroplane he was using? Do you remember the name of that industrialist whose wealth has gone up 100 and 1,000 times? I don't know. My arithmetic is not good. So this is the suppression of democracy. So now first let's see, earlier there used to be kingdoms. In India there were kingdoms. Kings were operating, ruling, they were making the laws, they were implementing the laws, and they were giving the punishment also. So legislative, executive and judiciary, all the roles were into one king. Now India being a continent, so big continent, there were many states, many kingdoms, and with the British coming in, British were more clever. They actually defeated, they came in the name of trade. They came in the name of trade and they plundered our wealth. Now here I want to point out that British were the first rulers who ruled also and plundered our wealth and took it away to England. It is not only the Kohinoor diamond, they plundered our raw material, they plundered our wealth and also ruled. Before that, kings were ruling, they were putting taxation on the peasants, but that's about it. Those kings who ruled, they did not take away the wealth. They did not take away the wealth from here. Of course, there were some plunderers who came from outside and plundered and went away. They did not rule. So first thing we remember that kings were ruling for power. Kings were ruling for wealth. The rule was not on the grounds of religion. So here just one example I'll give. You all must be knowing. Difficult to understand English? You want translation or what? Hello? Okay, where was I? I was talking about whom? Tipu Sultan. Please remind me, keep my age in mind, so sometimes I forget where I was. So Tipu Sultan. Now they said that Tipu Sultan was a great oppressor of Hindus. I went and I studied this in detail. I found out that Tipu Sultan's administration had Hindus also in the implementation of his orders. His commander-in-chief was a person called Purnaiya. Purnaiya was his chief commander-in-chief, and his chief secretary was another Hindu whose name I am forgetting. Anyway, so kings had fights, but the fights of kings were not for religion. This I will come some later. Now then come British. What do British do? British make these people, make these small kingdoms defeat and brought in the Indian contours in the due course of time. Many kings were defeated by them by cleverness, by hoodwinking, by military tactics, etc., etc. And here begins our story of democracy. Now with British coming in, there were three major changes at the level of society. Now if you can imagine and understand my simple English, think with me. Number one, they have to take away the wealth from here. So understand, for example, we are in Trichy. From Trichy, they have to take something to England. So first they will have to take it where? Can they directly take it from Trichy to London? No. So first they will have to take it to Chennai. How the things were being transported from Trichy to Chennai before the British came? There was this bullock cart and other small vehicles, and here they brought in railways. So to make it simple, just remember the word rail. Now, British Viceroy was ruling from Kolkata, Calcutta earlier it was called, Kolkata, and he had to send letters to his officers scattered all over the country. I hope you are getting what I am saying. Am I going too fast or is it okay? Okay. So now just answer my question. Who were carrying letters before the British came? Who was a letter carrier? They were horse riders and they were also pigeons. But problem or pleasure with pigeons is pigeons were carrying just love letters and no other letters. So they could be of no use to British administration. So what did they do? They brought in telephone, telegraph, postal system, made the communication fast. So first we said rail, now comes in mail. Now today the mail is in our pocket. You take out the mobile, you write to whoever you write in a minute. That's another thing. But that time, bringing of telephone, telegraph, postal system was a big revolution. And third was the modern education. Now modern education, when it came, it brought in a new enlightenment, new values, new social reform started coming into society. And this education, judiciary, and just to remember it simply, judiciary, when it gives severe punishment, where do the people land up? Like Professor Mahmoodabad, they land up in jail. So will you remember these three things? Rail, mail and jail. Okay, so these are the changes. With this, society starts changing and the new classes start coming up. What is a class? Class is a group of people. Class is a group of people doing similar type of work. So some people started setting up industries. Tata, Birla, Bajaj, Singhania, Dalmia, and many people from South whose name I don't know. Industrialists. Who will work in the factory? Workers. And third, the modern educated classes. Now these were the classes which were aspiring for democracy. They were against the British rule. So their movement went on very slow, and there were two supplementary things to this. One was, so far Indian society was prohibiting education to Dalits and women. To Dalits and women. So here comes in from Maharashtra, Jyotirao Phule. Jyotirao Phule makes all the efforts to start the schools for Dalits. It was seriously opposed. People from this side who were talking of Indian nationalism, democracy and secularism, they supported it. But people from the other side, means the landlords, the kings, the Nawabs, Hindu and Muslim both, they were opposed to the education to Dalits. And if you can understand, interestingly, to stop this education, they did lot of things. Similarly, Savitribai Phule, Jyotirao Phule's wife, but an independent personality of great talent, Savitribai Phule, along with her friend Fatima Sheikh, she starts schools for girls. Schools for girls. Good or bad? Hello, answer, hello. This is not an exam. Don't worry, you won't fail. Good or bad? Good. But that time they said, oh, they are giving education to girls. This is opposed to our religion. What has religion to do with opposing education? So in order to stop the education of girls, they started a rumor. You must be knowing, rumor has a lot of powers. Rumor can spark the violence, communal violence. Rumors can sometime make Lord Ganpati, Ganesh ji to drink milk. If some of you remember, they will remember. What rumor they started? That those girls who will get educated will become widows very early. Don't get frightened. Hello, my women friends, don't get frightened. Live example is standing in front of you. My wife, very educated, MBBS doctor, tolerating me from last 50 years. She is not widow till this minute. Next minute I don't know. Anyway, so here some names are important. Jyotirao Phule, Savitribai Phule, Bhimrao Babasaheb Ambedkar, and there is another great person who talked of self-respect movement, and that is Periyar Ramaswamy Naicker. What did he say? That there is a slavery for women and Dalits from last thousands of years. I don't tolerate it. And in a very simple way, he conveyed the ideas that the particular class of people, they try to fool us by creating concepts which are not realistic, by strengthening the caste system, by giving inferior position to women. So Periyar lit the spark of this Indian democracy in Tamil Nadu and related places, which is a matter of great joy. I am only very sad that Periyar's work is not so popular in North India as it should be. Probably we need to do more work, and I am very glad that some of my friends are bringing out volumes on Periyar in English to be followed by Hindi. This is a matter of great satisfaction to me. Anyway, so when this group were rising, who are these groups? Industrialists, workers, educated classes. They were earlier landlords, rajas, nawabs, and people like that. They were not happy with these social changes. Why? Because these changes are bringing in democracy, democratic values in germination. Full democracy was not there, but its principles started coming. And what were they used to? They were used to an authoritarian state, dictatorial society, where women and Dalit are slaves, quite like slaves, so they were not liking it. To cut the story short, from these people, rising classes came in three major type of organizations. First was, if you say, I am very respectful of many, but I will say, first was Shaheed-e-Azam Bhagat Singh. Now here I am giving exercise to those people who can understand a bit of English. Please note the pattern of names of rising classes of democratic side and declining classes who believed in feudal system. So the rising classes, Shaheed-e-Azam Bhagat Singh, remember the name of his organization, Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, number one. Number two, Bhimrao Babasaheb Ambedkar, and I will add Periyar to that. Periyar begins self-respect movement, and Babasaheb begins many movements, one of which party he forms is Republican Party of India. And the third one, where you see Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Annie Besant, later on people like, at the same time, people like Rajgopalachari, later on K. Kamaraj Nadar, and to tower it all, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. What is the name of this organization? At least this you can tell me. Name of organization to which they belong? Indian National Congress. Okay? So names I am repeating so that you understand the difference. What are the names? Names are Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, Republican Party of India, Indian National Congress. And see, I am giving just the samples. There will be many on this side which I am not giving you samples of. And from this side, who did not believe in democratic values and whose inheritors are ruling the country, please note that. Who were they? First, there was a person called Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Does somebody know the name of his party? Muslim League. Then there was as ministers have told us, a very interesting thing about Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. He wrote a book on himself, titling him Brave Savarkar. And when it was found out, of course, he was no more there, but he himself wrote a book. Please remember, when he was imprisoned in Andamans, he wrote 5 apology letters to British. Told them, please forgive me, I am your son, if you release me, I will serve you. He was released and he got a pension of ₹60 at that time. If somebody of you are an economist or mathematician, tell me ₹60 at that time, 1915, 20, 25, it will be equivalent to around 4 lakhs today. So the so-called brave fighter for freedom who is regarded highly in Maharashtra was receiving a pension of rupees 4 lakhs in today's terms there. And what is the party he joined later? Hindu Mahasabha. Please repeat, what is the name of the party of Muhammad Ali Jinnah? Muslim League. What is the name of the party of Savarkar? Hindu Mahasabha. Wait, one more comes in. Jinnah articulated Muslim nation, Savarkar articulated Hindu nation, and in the name of Hindu nation, another organization came up, which is weak in Tamil Nadu, but we have to be careful. Can you guess the name of that organization? I am giving you a hint. They were earlier wearing half pants. These days they wear full pants. Everybody gets promotion. RSS, thank you very much. You recognize it. What nation RSS wants? Hindu nation. So finally, don't tell me William Shakespeare said what is in the name. I say there is lots in the name. Lots in the name of DMK, lots in the name of Congress, lots in the name of Republican Party. So tell me the difference. This side, Socialist Republican Association, Republican Party of India, Self-Respect Movement, Indian National Congress. And this side there is Muslim League, Hindu Mahasabha, and RSS for Hindu Nation. I hope you are clear. I wish you could have answered yes, no, but anyway, if you are not understanding my English, I can't help it. Anyway, so as a representative of values of this side, I take up one person. As a representative of this side, I take another person. This is like this, that is Bhimrao Babasaheb Ambedkar, parallel to Periyar Ramaswamy Naikar. Ramaswamy Naikar, if you remember, he was going to burn the photo of some god. Do you remember the name? I'll leave it to you. And Ambedkar burnt a book. What is the name of that book? Manu Smriti. While burning Manu Smriti, Babasaheb said, Manu Smriti gives the values of slavery. Manu Smriti gives the values of slavery for Shudras and women. I am opposed to that, so I am burning this book. Same Babasaheb Ambedkar later on went to become the chief of the drafting committee of Indian Constitution. Who was the chief of drafting of Indian Constitution? Please repeat the name. Hello, Ambedkar. Are you already drained out of energy? So Ambedkar is doing two things. He is opposing the values of slavery for caste and women, low caste and women, and on this side there is a person from RSS. Of course there were many, but lately they wanted to have beyond 400 400 par. Why they wanted to have 400 par, 400 cross? Because they said Indian Constitution is based on the Western values. We don't want this. We want a constitution based on the Hindu holy books. So what is the name of that book? Manusmriti. So what is Babasaheb doing? Burning Manusmriti and building Indian constitution. And what is this party which is trying to enter Tamil Nadu? I am just wanting to warn you, that is saying Indian constitution is based on the Western values, throw it away. Then second thing, there was a total difference in agenda of this side and this side. What was the agenda of this side? They were aiming that, like Narayan Meghaji, Lokhande, Comrade Singarvelu, they were aiming that workers should have a decent life. Women should have a decent life. And for that they struggled, brought the day from 14 hours, 12 hours to 8 hours. Of course, lately, one of the great, big industrialists calling for 70-hour week, work for 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day, don't spend time with your family and friends, work and sleep and eat. So Narayan Meghaji Lokhande, Comrade Singarvelu, on this side, we see the values of Periyar, Ambedkar coming up in the society. So this is this value which built Indian democracy. In democracy, Indian democracy is not just in the air. It is rooted in the needs of the people, aspirations of the people for which we have to work. So while people from this side, so these people of course aim after we became independent, what did Nehru do? And that one example I'll give you. People with this ideology, I hope you understand this ideology. They said, oh, Somnath temple was destroyed by a foreigner. That time actually there was no concept of foreigner and native. Foreigner native concepts later with the formation of Indian constitution and Indian nation state. It was plundered by a foreigner, so let the state build it. The way state built this Ram temple and said now Hindu nation is beginning. That time Gandhi was alive. He said nothing doing. State will not take care of temples, mosques and churches. That is a duty of the society. And Nehru answered this in his own way. Probably before that worker was talking much more about the scientific achievements and all that. I won't be able to tell so much. But Nehru answered this in his own way. While inaugurating Bhakhara Nangal Dam, now let me tell you, that time India had food shortage. I remember my childhood when Prime Ministers used to appeal that eat only once a day. And what were we eating? We were importing red wheat from US scheme, so US 480 scheme. In US, that's a rejected wheat. Even animals don't eat. We were eating that. So what did Nehru do? As the chief architect of modern India, he thought of dams, he thought of irrigation, and Bhakhara Nangal Dam was the first one. While inaugurating Bhakhara Nangal Dam, Nehru says, these dams, these universities, these research institutes, this public sector, these are the temples of modern India. So Nehru says, build industries, build education, have research and all that. And what does RSS say? Have you heard RSS talking about rights to education, right to jobs for the young generation, right to health for young generation, right of peasants? No. What does it talk about? It just talks about that we are a Hindu nation from times immemorial. Hello, times immemorial. I remember a bit of his civics and this thing. Earlier man was hunter and food gatherer. Hunter and food gatherer. Can we call that as a Hindu nation? Then pastorals came. Can we call that as nation state? No. Then kingdoms came? No, it is not a nation state. Nation state in India begins with the Indian national movement. I have told you the components of Indian national movement. It was not just single party. It was all those movements who were working for the rights of the poor, deprived, marginalized, struggling sections of society. So Nehru lays the foundation of that, where I had the honor to work for 27 years in my career in IIT Bombay. So that was it. This was a policy. So what did RSS do? RSS just began the slogan, it gave a module, we are a Hindu nation from times immemorial. All the flaws in our society are because of the foreign aggressors. Caste system, because of Muslims. Poor treatment of women, because of Muslims. Of course, the proof of that it was internal to the society is very much there in Manusmriti, in many Narad Puran and many other books. But they said all this is because of Muslims, they are foreigners. Then they began the movement around cow, holy cow. Now I will not go into the ancient detail of cow because I must tell you in Vedic period cow was sacrificed. I am not saying this. This being said by Swami Vivekanand. This being said by eminent historian Professor D.N. Jha. Later on, struggle between Brahmanism and Buddhism It led to decline of Buddhism. Brahminism came back and it projected cow as the holy mother. They changed their stance from sacrificing cows, they came to worshipping cows. Now these people who are wanting to come to power in the name of Hindu Rashtra, Hindu nation, they also took it up. They took a procession to parliament, Gherao parliament, that was one. But lately, from 15-20 years, more so after 2014, they started lynching the people, mainly Muslims and Dalits, in the name of cow. I was so pained to have the statistics that between 2014 to 2019, nearly 100 lynching took place. And in this, those who died, 90 were Muslims, 10 were Dalits. Then I also came to know, in one of the BJP ruled states, there was a cow shed. In that cow shed, hundreds of cows died because of malnutrition, because of lack of treatment. So I was confused. Are they really treating cow as a mother? Or it's a political tool? So I got the answer. I got the answer in one book. And that book is a biography of one prime minister who used to write poetry also. Can you guess? Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. That book tells us that Vajpayee was on a lecture tour in America. After giving the lecture, he was enjoying his meals, he was enjoying his food. So his neighbor tapped him on his shoulder and said, Atalji, what are you eating? What you are eating is beef. Atalji had no problems. He smiled. Atalji smiled and said, oh, if it is a beef, what is the problem? It is not of Indian cow, it is of American cow. So let's have it. So what are the other issues they take up? Other issues they take up? Love jihad, no real issues, but that they have made an issue of friendship of young people and killing the people if he happens to be a Muslim, falling in love with a Hindu girl. So this is second issue. Then they have started so many things. Only one example I'll give. All these are emotive issues. And that example was Babri Mosque demolition. They said that Babri Mosque has been built on a temple where Lord Ram was born. I was very impressed in the beginning. Oh, they know where Lord Ram was born. We don't know his year of birth. We don't know his year of birth, but we know his place of birth. Brilliant! Then when it went to the Supreme Court finally, despite a compromise judgment, said that there is no evidence of temple underneath the mosque. But political pressure, so they gave the whole land to the Hindu side, so-called Hindu side. They succeeded in building the temple thinking this will help them in election. Well, of course, it might have helped them in election partly. But one thing I admire, what I admire about the building of the temple, construction was so brilliant that like bridges are falling in the BJP ruled states, one after the other. In Ram temple also, right in the first rainy season, it started leaking from the top. Very interesting. What a brilliant architecture, what a brilliant move. Anyway, so Ram temple. After that, a series of issues around these. So one side, there are issues which create emotions, which create hatred. And believe me, hatred is the root cause around which communal violence is built. I believe if there is a love and amity in the society, violence cannot take place. Here violence took place, and one study from Yale University, I'll tell you. Some of you must have heard the name of Yale University. Some of you had heard. I had not heard. How did I hear it? That you know that a big actor from Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, she became HRD minister. So some people said, she is very illiterate. She is just 10th pass or 12th pass. She came in that house, that actor's role, and said, you are calling me less literate? Look, I have brought a degree from Yale University. I was very impressed. I started following the research of Yale University, and I came to read that Yale University research, as reported in Economic Times, tells us wherever communal violence is orchestrated. Secondly, violence just doesn't take like that. Violence is orchestrated for political benefits. Violence is orchestrated for political benefits. So wherever communal violence is orchestrated, after that, a party becomes more powerful. Can you guess the name of that party which wants Hindu nation? Same, BJP becomes more powerful after every communal violence. So friends, after this, so there are two types of issues in the society. One is welfare, betterment, jobs, health, enrichment. Second is hate, division, and a type of politics which talks about emotive issues. Choice is yours. So what should we do? Analysis is okay, but we have to do something. We have to do something, and for that, this movement which has been initiated, movement for revival of resurgence of Indian democracy, is absolutely crucial to our future. So what needs to be done? I think some training programs have to be undertaken. Training programs for young people who want to commit some time for the society. We can have small workshops for them whole day. What is Indian nationalism? What is Hindu nationalism? What is Muslim nationalism? What is happening in South Asia? What type of degeneration we are having? And along with this, to spread the values of Indian Constitution far and wide, going to people's places, finding different mechanisms where we can explain what Indian nationalism, Indian Constitution actually means. So training other people, and in the same series, meetings like this, where we can talk about democracy, its protection, spreading the word that democracy is the only way for future of India. The politics in the name of religion, wherever it comes, wherever politics in the name of religion comes, it destroys that nation. In Pakistan, right from the beginning, they kept talking about Islam. Today, they are total bankrupt. In Sri Lanka, I remember 2 years ago probably, there was an uprising by the people because Sinhala nationalism was very strong. And remember, their even language was important. Religion was important. If you remember LTTE, how did LTTE got created? Because in Sri Lanka, Sinhala nationalism in the name of Buddhism was very strong. It oppressed. I remember a thing. In 1958, as W. Bandar came, he made Tamil as one of the national languages. He made Tamil as one of the national languages of Sri Lanka. And he was murdered by a Buddhist monk in protest. So my basic submission is not against any religion. I basically want a society where religion is a private matter. Religion's moral values, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, love thy neighbor, take care of your noble needs, we can keep here. But religion's identity should be personal. And what should be public are the values of Indian Constitution, which can bring in Indian nationalism and Indian democracy to a big level. Thank you very much.